Hey guys, what's up? It's Rygar the Destroyer, and today we're going to be taking a look at IG-88 from the Clone Wars line. Now, this figure is pretty cool, but before we take a closer look at it, let's go ahead and take a look at its packaging. So here it is. As you can see, it's pretty standard for the Clone Wars line. It's got a really cool image of IG-88 across the front here, and then whenever you flip it over onto the back, it's got an image of IG-88 from the movie, and then an image of the figure itself. Then down here at the bottom, it shows off all of the other figures that were available in this line. And then finally, there is a brief description. And of course, if you'd like to read that, you can go ahead and just pause the video. So overall, pretty standard stuff. So let's go ahead and get back to the figure itself here. Now, IG-88 stands at right at 4 3/4 inches tall. So he's a lot taller than your average 3 3/4 inch figure. But honestly, that feels about right to me. Obviously, IG-88 is a much taller character. And this figure comes with a ton of accessories. We'll go through them here real quick. Now, the first one, of course, is his blaster rifle here. As you can see, it is very nicely detailed. Very nice. And one thing that is very important about this is it does actually go in his hands and stay in his hands, which is very important for an IG-88 figure, which is very nice. Then he comes with this blaster here. Again, same thing, very nicely detailed, no paintwork or anything, but it does stay in his hands. And then finally, he does have this kind of wicked looking blade. And I'm pretty sure that this can also be posed in his hands if you try hard enough, but the way I like to do it is to clip it onto his bandolier here. As you can see, it clips on there. And there is a holster for this blaster here, but it doesn't like to actually fit in there. So unless you want it sticking out and looking kind of like garbage, I wouldn't recommend putting it in there. So continuing on with his accessories, he does come with a stand, which of course is important for a figure, well, really any action figure, so I'm glad that it is included. And then finally, he does come with the Galactic Battle Game die and a card. So overall, a ton of accessories. Now, as far as articulation on this figure goes, it's certainly not perfect, but I think it's pretty good for a figure that is, you know, kind of strange like this one. We'll go ahead and run through it. He's got a swivel in the top of his head here, and then one at the base of his head, so you can kind of line both of these up exactly how you want. No other directions of motion though, unfortunately. He has swivel shoulders, and they do swivel 360. Then he's got a swivel at the bicep, hinged elbows that give you about 90 degrees. That is the same on both arms. He's got a swivel at the waist, and there is like a floating piece. The bandolier is floating, as well as this center piece in the torso, so none of that really gets in the way. He has hinged hips, and on this side, the articulation is a little bit impeded by this tube here, but it is removable. You can pull it out so that it doesn't break. Unfortunately, that is not a feature that's carried over the entire figure, and we'll talk about that. But this leg here gets a much greater range of motion. There is a thigh swivel, and then he has hinged knees with a swivel. And unfortunately on this side, as you can see, these tubes here do not get removed like this one here to allow for articulation. So I accidentally broke one. So don't do the same thing as me and accidentally break one of these tubes. This knee does not have as much articulation. Then at the ankle, there is a swivel and then a hinge. So honestly, overall, the articulation is a little bit limited, especially at the shoulder, but I think they did about as much as they could do for a figure of this size, you know, especially with the arms being as thin as they are. So I definitely recommend picking this figure up. I think it's an excellent representation of IG-88, and I think it will make a cool addition to any collection. So if you have any comments or questions, hit me up on my social media. The link for that will be down in the description below, and I guess I'll see you later.